So there's a sense of alienation. There's a sense of not quite belonging, not quite secure, not quite comfortable until you are made the same as us. Until you believe the same, until you practice the same, until you adopt our interpretation. I once, as foreign minister of this country, went to visit Iran. And the protocol is the visiting foreign minister shall have a courtesy call on the head of state, the president. The head state at that time happened to be Muhammad Khatami, the one who suggested to the UN that we should have dialogue among civilizations before 9/11, 1 year before. And I know he studied philosophy in Iran before he left the country. He went to Germany, he studied philosophy there, he got his PhD, I think from Hamburg. And I asked him this question, Dato. In the assembly of his cabinet, my delegation, in his office, I asked him this question, not about oil, not about investment, and not about tourism. But I asked him, Excellency, suppose there are two Muslims. One lives in a closed, controlled, and very, very narrow space. For him or her to be a good Muslim, he is good. He prays every day 5 times. He do his fasting. He practices all the rituals. But he lives in that closed society with absolute control. He's a good Muslim. Good. There's another Muslim who lives in an open space, full of diversity. A lot of choices. Nobody control him. Nobody impose on him. Nobody force him to do anything. But he practiced all the rituals required of him as a good Muslim. I asked him, Your Excellency, which one is a better Muslim? Khatami knew right away that that was an adaptation of Aristotle's idea. When Aristotle talked about good citizen and good man, Aristotle said, good citizen, it depends on the regime. If you are in a tyranny, you have to submit, and then you are good. If you are in a democracy, you have to participate, and then you are good. You can't submit. If you are in an authoritarian regime, you have to respect the power of the authority. You have no choice. So, good citizen depends on the nature of the regime. Aristotelian. Good man, Aristotle said, is good universally. Whichever regime he lives under, whichever cultural environment he finds himself in, he remains a good person. Well, Khatami listened to me and was silent for a while and then clapped his hand on his knee and laughed and said, you Muslims in Southeast Asia are better than many of us around here. So he admitted. That's what I mean when you are used to that controlled environment, absolute. All of a sudden you have to face globalization. All of a sudden you have to face these forces of globalization. What do? You are at a loss. And that's exactly what is happening. To me, extremism or terrorism is a maladjustment to the environment that they have found themselves in. They can't adjust to this open space. Nobody instruct, nobody give them order, nobody point direction. They have to decide for themselves to be good or to be bad. All of a sudden, this is not the environment that we want. Therefore, either seek to change it. If you can't change, use every means that you can to the point of sacrificing in order to confront that alien environment. But again, quoted in Ibn Khaldun, the prophet said, you try to change things that are wrong. If you can't, you speak out against things that are wrong. If you can't do that, you try to live yourself according to your own conscience. Never. Force was not the first order of things. There's hadith on that. So, to me, extremism and terrorism are symptoms of maladjustment to the changing global environment. Because you have to adjust, to accommodate, to live with the differences. Because you are no longer absolute within your own. I went to Harvard with the Rockefeller Foundation Fellowship. When I became minister, a vice president of the Rockefeller Foundation came to me over dinner, asking advice. We have helped produce the Green Revolution, the strain of rice that would produce a lot of rice, called the Green Revolution. We want something as big, the Rockefeller Foundation. Can you give us some idea? And then he came up with his own idea. How about being independent from Middle Eastern oil? Over dinner, I said, can you imagine and think of the consequence of that idea? That all these years, you were patronizing them, importing their energy, paying them so that they could establish the welfare state that they have. And you said you are going to withdraw. You said you will be independent, and they are now independent. Not because of the Rockefeller policy, but because of the technology that could get gas out of shale. So oil price drop. Economy nosedive. Problems, problems, problems. Malaysia is a different story. Because not only digging the resources in the earth, but also digging into the minds of the people. Science, technology, and innovation. So the way you adjust to the oil price dive, you are holding. Many of those countries are now having to find a way to manage. Because America now is exporting energy. Well, Trump, that's another matter, another lecture. But that's the problem. When you are used to everything being blessed, to you. You don't worry about anything else. You stop thinking. And you want everything to be as you are accustomed to. I think people who follow the problems in the Ummah understand. I don't know how to make people, friends from outside the community to understand. Only to say that Wahhabism is the brand of Islam that is extremely absolutist and dogmatic. Arabization is Wahhabization. Most of us in Southeast Asia is Shafi'ite, and we can accommodate. And that's how we have accommodated in the past. Now that process of Arabization is creating tension and confrontation and conflicts to the point where Nahdlatul Ulama in Indonesia came up with that video clip, Divine Blessings from East Indies Islam. Meaning this is a divine blessing too, not only you. So, when you are used to that kind of environment, it is very difficult to adjust to the wider world, where things are different. Human affairs are always in the state of flux, Machiavelli said. Always moving. Always waving. You can't control it. And then you have to adjust with those changes. Can't. Maladjustment is the consequence. Or terrorism, or fundamentalism, or extremism are symptoms of maladjustment. And maladjustment is a symptom of this being used to be protected in an environment that you feel secure. When I speak to my students in the South, I use this in order to tell them that you have to change. Because things change around you. In Surah Al-Jumu'ah, after the prayer on Friday, you spread on the surface of the earth in search of fadlullah, blessings from God. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. Those who know the Quran. When you finish the prayer, spread out and look for rizqi or fadlullah. Well, minerals are depleted. Even fresh water is depleted. Now fadlullah is in the Gulf of Thailand. 2 kilometers down and 10 kilometers horizontal pipe to get gas and oil out for this country and for Malaysia. We have the joint development area, 7,000 square kilometers in the Gulf, lower Gulf of Thailand. Well, فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. Spread on the land of God in order to benefit from His blessings and His fadlullah. Well, if you don't have that science, if you don't have that technology, if you don't have that innovation, what do? Somebody else will do it for you. It is not as when your when I talk to my student, not when your grandfather was tilling the soil, growing rice, or tapping rubber. That was enough. This is a new world. How do you adjust to the changes? Only by the development of your skills and your expertise and your knowledge. And that can only come with the habit of intellection. Use your intelligence. Use your reasoning. Use your ability in the reasoning, faculty of reason, logic. So I guess a message for you to take home is that in the past, one by an Arab who lives in the UK, professor of physics, wrote The House of Wisdom last year. One by a Westerner, Jonathan Lyons, same title, The House of Wisdom. And in here, it's Al-Biruni, the stars, the astrologer. In here, the philosophers. In here, the medical expertise like Ibn Sina. In here, all those great giants when Islam was the glory. What I'm saying is they have used intellection, they have used reasoning, they have used their intelligence. And Ibn Khaldun said, a lot of them are non-Arabs. They're Indians, they're Persians, they're Berbers, they're Spaniards, they're Turks. They are tribes. The only way we can reclaim that lost glory is to come back and concentrate on the development of the mind. And in order to come back to that point of development of the mind, you have to get rid of that absolutist mindset. You have to get rid of I know best. You have to get rid of that I have the only interpretation that is correct. The rest are wrong. And you have to go back to my madrasa at the grassroots when the guru said, Wallahu a'lam, he knows better. He knows best. This is the message that I want you to go home with. We have to be more humble about our own knowledge that we think we have. And then we allow others to come in, and then we exchange, and then we discuss, and then we learn from each other. Then we will come to this, whatever you want to call it, moderation or wasatiyah. خير أمة أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس. All these phrases and names can only be put into practice if we begin with the assumption that I know quite little and I need to know more, and others will have to help me, and I will have to work with others so that together we can build another renaissance, which is going to be informed by that sense of humility and moderation that the great scholars of the past have used as their inspiration and their guidance in order to create that great civilization in diversity. And the challenge for all of us in ASEAN is how to manage that diversity, how to live with that diversity. Half of ASEAN is Muslim, over half speaking Malay. And that half will have to find a way forward. And I would say a way forward is nothing alien, is nothing strange, nothing foreign. They have done it before. And it could be done again, only if we bring ourselves down and work with others, respect others, mutually respecting each other. Then we'll find the way forward. Thank you for the opportunity to open my heart to you. I come here with all these things. If you want to know more, please come and borrow. I'll let you read this text. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullah khairan, Dr. Surin Pitsuwan, the former of ASEAN Secretaries. I'm very appreciated for your crossings, keynotes, and wonderful and fruitful knowledge of you here. And now, once again, I would like to invite our ambassador, Dato' Nasira binti Hussein, in the front to presenting our special books from Muslim Studies Center, Chulalongkorn University, to Dr. Surin Pitsuwan, please. Jazakallah khairan, Dato' Nasira and Dr. Surin Pitsuwan. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering to the closing of the today conference on the titans of moderation and Islamic approach to face the global transition on ASEAN Thailand.